In the midwife's office, she handed Sunjin the forms. She looked at him with genuine compassion and apologized that things had come to this. Even as a medical professional, she admitted that they were not immune to the pain of such decisions. No family deserved to go through what he and his loved ones were facing. She reminded him that, since the baby was fully developed, it was considered a human being with rights. Therefore, the choice was his to make, either save the baby or save Minsu. Sunjin stared at the forms, barely hearing a word she said. His heart was breaking. He thought about all the dreams he and Minsu had shared, the joy they felt preparing to welcome their first child, the excitement of building a family together. He had never imagined it would come to this. He turned to the midwife and quietly asked for a moment alone. She nodded and left the room, closing the door gently behind her. Sunjin sat there, staring at the form in front of him, consumed by the weight of the decision that could change everything. Meanwhile, outside the hospital, Yuna stood alone, tears streaming down her cheeks. She thought about her brother and Minsu, how unfair it was that they were facing such heartbreak. They had looked forward to this moment with so much anticipation, made big plans for their child, and now everything was falling apart. Her thoughts turned to Woobin, who had promised to be there for the birth but whose phone had been off. She knew that if Woobin were present, Sunjin wouldn't feel so alone. He had always been Sunjin's anchor, the friend he turned to for advice, for strength. Now, when he needed him most, he was nowhere to be found. Yuna wiped her tears, took a deep breath, and began to pull herself together. She knew she had to go back inside and be there for her brother. Just as she was about to head in, a car pulled up in front of the hospital entrance. To her utter shock, Woobin stepped out. For a second, she thought she was imagining things, but as he began walking toward her, she realized it was real. Without hesitation, she ran to him and threw herself into his arms. As he held her, she felt a sense of comfort and belonging. Being in his arms felt like home. It was exactly what she had needed, what she had longed for during all the chaos. They stayed in that embrace for a few minutes before finally pulling apart. Yuna smiled through her tears, gently touching his face and asking if he was really there. Woobin smiled back, complimenting her hairstyle and teasing that it suited her well, though he had changed his own. He asked about Minsu and whether things had improved. Yuna shook her head and explained that Sunjin now had to make a heartbreaking decision between saving Minsu or the baby. Woobin was stunned, admitting he hadn't realized things had become so severe. Before they could say more, another car pulled up. A stunning Norwegian woman stepped out and walked directly over to them. Looking at Woobin, she asked if they were going in now, saying that she was ready. Yuna looked at the girl, confused. Before she could speak, Woobin grabbed the woman's hand and agreed that they should head inside. The two of them walked away together, entering the hospital without another glance. Yuna stood frozen, her emotions swirling. Who was the girl? Why had Woobin suddenly acted as if she didn't exist? The realization hit her hard. Maybe she had been right all along. Perhaps Woobin had found someone new in Norway. She felt foolish, remembering how she had dyed her hair to match his, only for him to return with someone whose hair matched his new style instead. The sting of betrayal and heartbreak settled deep in her chest as she stood there, alone once again.